Well, ageless living is a pretty nebulous concept that and it describes in general, what we talk about in our book, Beyond the Fountain of Youth, what we represent with anti-aging and regenerative medicine in general, that, because many times when you hear anti-aging, all you see are books and ads and people talking about, helping to beautify you to, with aesthetics, which is great. But this is so much more that the topic really entertains a long and a huge discussion around all the things that we can do to help vitality, help with to slow, if not reversing, many signs of aging. And so that I think is the terms that we tend to throw around or use when we even insinuate ageless living, because all of us would like to do that. That's what prompted me even to pick the title of my book as Beyond the Fountain of Youth, because as we know, for many hundreds of years, there's always been the quest for that secret fountain of youth, as Ponce de Leon, I think, didn't find. But we're able to really go so much farther than that now with modern science, with the science and therapeutics and regenerative medicine, anti-aging and regenerative medicine, if you will. And so I think that's where we can easily use the term, ageless living. Obviously, we all age and things happen to us over time, but I think we all have people we know that maybe don't have the exercise habits that we do, or that don't have strict dietary habits that we know can impact aging, the pace of aging, and really the sense of vitality and overall well-being. We have friends that are our own given age and they get off the couch and they're not going hiking with us. They used to be our golf buddies, and they, just have stopped doing the things that were part of what made them so vital, and had vitality in their life with the extracurricular activities that they enjoy doing, that when we start suffering hormone decline, which really is the triggering event behind, aging, and that we succumb then to loss of vitality, loss of energy, aches, pains, increases, loss of muscle mass, increase in body fat, sometimes cognitive changes, memory loss, certainly sexual function, libido. So that's really a long explanation of what we talk about when we refer to ageless living, and it really takes into effect many different factors. So when people ask me, well, what are the foundational principles or practices? What can we do to implement ageless living into our life? And I go through it in detail in my new book, Beyond the Fountain of Youth. And in fact, there's a chapter on ageless living where we summarize this. But to me, it's the common sense things that I've been telling people for the last 20 plus years. And obviously, one, in my opinion, hormone optimization is the most important thing that you can do to get tested and seek out, see someone that's an expert in the field that really understands the difference between normal and optimal. Because, I just started a couple guys in their 40s on my program this last week that their testosterone, well, one was 257, and his primary care physician had told him he was fine. It was normal for his age. The other was in the 400s, but neither were optimal. Optimal testosterone for men is 20 and above, not 6 or 8 or even 10. So hormone optimization for men and women, the ranges are different, but it's huge. And as I've said many times before, we start losing our hormones as young as 30, 1 to 3% a year. And so it does need to be addressed. To me, that's the foundation for this ageless living concept. And then we look at other things, exercise, regular exercise. I just read an article yesterday in one of our chief medical journals, showing again what we've always known and what I've preached for 40 years as a sports medicine physician, that, exercise does help to improve not only quality of life, but extend lifespan. And so, there are some large volume studies coming back now that show just that, what we've known and what we've preached through exercise science or sports medicine, if you will, for the last 20, 30, and even 40 years. So regular exercise. What's interesting, and some of the high intensity studies have shown that you don't have to spend an hour on the treadmill every day. Now, this last study that I read was with pretty significant time commitment to people on a regular and weekly basis. But what we also have seen from high intensity training, that as little as 5 to 10 minute high intensity exercise sessions per week can significantly improve quality of life and extend lifespan. And so that is really becoming the trend with our busy lifestyles, is to incorporate, and it may be a nightly or 3 to 8 times a week walk with your spouse or significant other or your pet, to where for 1 minute you go all out. You give it high intensity, the fastest walk or walk, jog, or run for 1 minute, and then you slow and have a 2 or 3 minute recovery time. Do that at least 3 times in a row. You've just done your 5 to 10 minutes of high intensity exercise. Give yourself a day off and do it again. And so, exercise is very important. The other concept is nutrition. And I talked and did a podcast a few days ago, and you can look on YouTube, just put in the Aspen Institute for Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine, or the title Beyond the Fountain of Youth, because that's also not only the name of my book, but of our podcast. And I talk about that quite a bit for 7 or 8 minutes on that podcast. I talked about it a lot, where not only do we need great nutrition, high protein, low carb, stay away from sugar, but trying to alkalinize our diets. And I talk somewhat about different methods to alkalinize water, let's say, because it can be very, very important. And then eating organic produce, because of the high concentrations of herbicides and glyphosate in everything that we consume. If you're not at least purchasing organic vegetable products, if you're using preserved meats or vegetables, there's a high concentration of chemicals. We talked about microplastics as well. And so, nutrition, exercise, hormone balance, these are all the keys to what produces ageless living. Oh, what's ageless living? And that is having the vitality to be as active as you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s at 50, 60, 70, and beyond. And it is completely doable. And what's so dramatic to me, and what's so exciting, and what I'm hoping to impact dramatically with this book, with as many people as possible, is that they understand, that we can add things together one at a time, approach it slowly, start with seeking out an expert or sending us a message and doing a telemedicine consultation. I have people this week, California and Michigan and all over the country, doing blood work that we're going to get together for a half an hour and talk about it. And so we do that extensively. And the results are, from my standpoint, very rewarding to help a 50, 60, 70-year-old person regain the vitality that they had, to improve the quality of their relationships with their spouse, with their families, to do things that they just were too tired or worn out feeling to do in the past. When you balance your hormones, it's a game changer as far as physical attributes, gaining muscle mass, losing that accumulating belly fat that just wouldn't go away. And so we want to add all the pieces together. We want to start with a foundational approach to ageless living, balancing the hormones, working on proper nutrition, we do a lot of micronutrient testing and supplements because even with organic foods, in so many cases, they're just not grown in the nutrient dense soils that they were 50 years ago. And so we need a nutrient dense diet and supplementation to help accomplish that. And so it really is a great concept, an idea that's way overdue. You know, as a sports medicine physician, before I became board certified in anti-aging and regenerative medicine, I preached diet and exercise to everybody. I mean, that was who I was. That's what we did. And as I attempted to remain an aging athlete, ski racing and getting my golf handicap down to 8.9, or hopefully even lower, it feels great and it's fun and it's rewarding and it's invigorating. You know, my wife and I play golf together all the time and we have a blast. And so why spend life on the couch? To me, that's hard to fathom. And so I encourage you to get a copy, you know, read Beyond the Fountain Reviews, take a look at our podcast as well. Click on the link here and ask for more information. We'd be happy to share it with you. And we have a lot of information on our website as well. And so that really is my take on what is ageless living and how do we get there.